Well, if you, genetically speaking, have a little bit of doom in your genes, this might be right up your alley. And I just so happen to have some of my genes for sure, because this kind of doom doesn't bother me, and it shouldn't bother you either. It's just news. It's just information. Take it and make it useful. Oh, a train's coming that is silent, and we're standing on the tracks. Do I stand here because it's not making noise, or do I, stand here and see what happens, or do I move? That's bad news. We're on the tracks. Train's coming. This is terrible news. It's not feel good news. This is bad. This is feel bad news. Guess what? Take the information your eyes just gave you. Guys, hey, turn around. Pay attention. See that? Oh, yeah. What's that? That's a train coming at high speed. We probably should get off the tracks. Good call, buddy. Thanks. But before that, when you were telling them, guys, should we get off the tracks just in case a train comes? That train's not coming. They don't come here this time of the day. Such a damn doomer. Stop complaining. Well, I'm just wondering. I mean, we could be right over there. It's not going to hurt. Well, what's the problem? Just stay on the track. All right, fine. Oh, guys, train's coming. You said it didn't come at this time. Right? That's the average sheeple. So whatever. Don't let this bother you. It's not anything you haven't heard before. It's just more proof that there's some problems coming. Okay? That's all this is. Silver doctors. A cataclysm awaits the U.S. Experts warn of worst-case scenarios unfolding with danger zone from approximately summertime through November. Again, September, October. Hey, that's those freaking dates again, isn't it? Isn't that amazing? By Stephen Stanford at allnewspipeline.com. Things are aligning socially and politically for what could be a very difficult summer. These staggering facts prove a cataclysm awaits us. Experts warn of worst-case scenario unfolding with danger zone from summer through November. According to Saturday's story, which he actually quotes Zero Hedge 2, love it, from Tyler Durden at over at Zero Hedge, nearly 1 out of 4 American adults are unable to pay their monthly bills in full, with 25% of adults skipping medical treatments due to their expense, while 28% of U.S. adults have no retirement savings or pensions at all. Reporting also that 44% of American adults would be unable to pay an unexpected expense of $400, such as a car repair, and would either have to borrow more money and go further into debt, or sell something in order to make meet such an expense. We take a look within this story at the very real human cost of the financial cataclysm that awaits humanity. With former Ronald Reagan director of the Office on Management and Budget, you know this name, I've mentioned it many times, David Stockman, recently warning on Greg Hunter's show, USA Watchdog, that a fiscal bloodbath and market crash is about to occur. We see that such a crash brings along with it homelessness, hopelessness, drug abuse, suicide, and crime waves as people do whatever they need to do to survive. With every economic travesty comes great human suffering and tragedy. And with expert after expert warning of danger ahead in the high-stakes world of finance, the average American should prepare themselves for what it will be like to live without a house or a car or job should those worst-case scenarios we're now being warned about unfold. And again, are you going to lose your job? Are you not? Is your neighbor? Is your wife? Is your husband? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So, again, if it got this bad and this crap starts happening, recession 2.0, bottom line is it is what it is. Me telling you about it now doesn't change anything. However, your precious metals may help you out during a bad time if you've been stacking all this time. If you are into cryptocurrencies in recent times, boy oh boy, could they help a brother out during some rough times. While Stockman believes this bloodbath will likely occur between August and November of 2017, we'll remind you that ANP doesn't like to put exact dates on future events that are out of our own control. Though all things seem to be aligning politically, socially, and economically for an event, as detailed within this story, it's impossible to estimate the coming cost of human suffering as a result of the impending financial cataclysm. First, from Mac Slavo over at SHTF Plan. He says, as time goes on, it's becoming abundantly clear that Trump isn't going to be able to prevent a major financial crisis in this country. Depending on your beliefs, That's either because he's inept in some way or because he's hamstrung by a political system that's determined to keep our nation on the same unsustainable path. Whatever the case may be, it seems that there is no way that we can change course at this point. We're headed for a financial crisis, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. That's also the opinion of David Stockman, again, former congressman and director of the Office of Management and Budget under Ronald Reagan. And again, within that interview, he reveals why the market rally that broke out after the last recession, quote, was the greatest suckers rally we've ever seen. He also explains why the economy could go off the rails later this year after our government endures a major budgetary crisis. Earlier this month, our government avoided a shutdown because Trump decided to sign Congress's $1.2 trillion spending bill. In effect, he postponed a serious fight with Congress for later this year at exactly the time frame we're talking about. On May 2nd, he tweeted, "Our country needs a good shutdown in September to fix this mess." So clearly, next time he's going to be a lot less compromising in his efforts to change the budget. That's going to spawn a fight over the budget between Trump and both political parties, and according to Stockman, that's when the next wave of our financial collapse is going to arrive. Quote, "There will be no bid for the stock once the panic sets in. We're going to hit an air pocket. The S&P 500 is going to drop by hundreds and hundreds of points sometime over the next few months as we drift into this unexpected crisis. I would target sometime between August and November because that's when the rubber is going to meet the road on a debt ceiling increase when they are out of cash. Washington is going to end up in vicious political conflict over what to do about the debt ceiling. It is going to be one giant fiscal bloodbath, the likes of which we have never seen." That's what he thinks is going to go down this time. See, because you and I are used to the last two couple of times. Oh, debt ceiling, Obama is going to shut down the national parks, you know. And then they fix it. Oh, they'll just fix it again. But are they really? Again, they got a guy in the White House. They'd love to just throw this all on his face. Hey, we sent him a budget. He won't pass it. He vetoed it. He did it. You know, he's blaming on him. In this news story from J.D. Hayes over at Natural News, it's reported that most Americans don't believe what is now happening in Venezuela could ever happen here. With the failed socialist nation witnessing a 99.5% collapse in the value of their currency within a relatively short period of time, the wise understand that Venezuela is a dire warning to America should the worst-case scenarios Stockman warns us of unfold here. As we see detailed below, Americans are already in record levels of debt. How many are prepared to ride out here what is happening already there? As we reported, the human cost of what is now happening in Venezuela is staggering, with Venezuelans starving in the streets as the nation moves toward civil war. And from that Natural News story, Miguel Torres, the one-time spy chief for Maduro's predecessor, Hugo Chavez, has broken with the current government. He sees major trouble ahead, even civil war, if nothing changes and the already massive protests spread even further to the poorer, generally pro-Chavez countryside. What is happening may be the starting point for a huge armed confrontation between Venezuelans, he told Reuters. Nobody wants that. Unfortunately, for too many Americans living in deep blue states and who were enamored with the presidential candidacy of socialist U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders, would favor exactly the kind of government that is destroying Venezuela, has left other countries like Cuba, Bolivia, Ecuador, and others in desperate poverty. In that form of government, if that form of government ever takes hold, it would not only be an economic disaster for the world, since the U.S. dollar is the globe's reserve currency, it would doom generations of Americans to the same hopelessness and endless cycles of poverty and desperation being seen now in Venezuela and other socialist governments. Anyone who seriously believes that America's currency would not undergo a catastrophic, deadly collapse under socialist government is no serious student of history. The evidence proves otherwise. According to this news story over at My Budget 360, household debt for Americans has now surpassed even the record levels that were reached during the 2008 Great Recession, with debt spending keeping the economy afloat while Americans leverage future income on buying material items today, while believing the financial situation in America won't be changing for the worse, warning us that people are living beyond their means and the banks are once again gaming the system. They report what is most problematic is that much of the debt increase is coming from student loans, auto debt, and credit cards at a time when even a site called The Week recently reported America is going through a retail apocalypse. Have I used that term here recently? Retail apocalypse? Of course, you bet your sweet butt I have. And they say this is critical to understand here. Household debt is actually down from the previous peak by $910 billion. However, non-housing debt is up by $950 billion. This is even more problematic for wealth building for Americans, since most derive their net worth from home equity if they do own. We have broken down why most Americans are too broke to buy a home. The massive growth in non-housing debt is based on items that don't build equity. Auto loans definitely do not help, and credit cards essentially spend out of future income. Going to college is good, but at what cost? This shift from housing to non-housing debt means the solvency crisis of this upcoming correction is going to look different. This debt spending is simply a continuation from the last crisis where the middle class is trying to cling on to their lifestyle by spending money they do not have. You remember what my mom said when she had to end up moving into my sister's house in which she pays no rent? Pretty much had no money, is barely saving any now. I refuse to live in poverty! Well, Mom, you're living with my sister Andrea. She's not in poverty, but a person who lives with someone else, you're in poverty. If that someone isn't there, you're on the streets. You're in a homeless shelter. That's pretty close to poverty. But again, the mindset tells us, no, I cannot. I refuse to live in poverty because this is America. We were told that this is the greatest country on the face of the earth. We can all have the American dream. I've done it. I've tried it. And now I'm living with my daughter. And my brain cannot compute what the hell went wrong. So I'm just going to say out loud, I refuse to live in poverty, even though you actually are technically. Right? But that's the story of how many Americans these days? A whole hell of a lot. A new record in debt brought on by items that don't inherently build equity. This is going, he says, this is going to go well. We also see, look at this. Look at this. I'm reading a Silver Doctor's article. What is this here? Oh my goodness. Who is that ugly son of a... Oh, let me put myself next to myself. Allow myself to put myself next to myself. Jason at 4, man. It's Jason at 4, son. Silver Doctors. Got old Snippy on there, part of this article. Fantastic. But let's just read. I'm going to read. I had to toot my own horn for a second. I'm proud to be on there. Thank you. Not proud because of the crap that I cover, which is the destruction of the New Age Roman Empire that you happen to be living in America. But it is what it is. So we know how this is going to end. So we also see that all things are aligning socially and politically for what could be a very difficult summer, according to this recent story from Paul Joseph Watson over at InfoWars, who reports police departments across the country are now stocking up on riot gear for what they believe may turn into a summer of rage. In another recent InfoWars story, we learned that mass nationwide anti-Trump riots are being planned also summertime, July 2nd, in which militant leftists are allegedly hoping to overthrow Trump, as Watson also reports in the third video below. Which, with the failing establishment media, I like to refer to them as legacy media, kind of like Cliff Hyde. I love that word, so I'm going to use that term. With the failing legacy establishment media fanning the flames of rebellion by continuously reporting upon President Trump as being illegitimate, we see in this May 17th story from Michael Snyder over at his Economic Collapse blog that while impeachment talk reached a fever pitch on Capitol Hill recently, the Dow plunged 372 points, showing us a direct correlation between U.S. politics and the markets. And with even more U.S. retailers now preparing to declare bankruptcy, putting even more Americans out of work, even more people may take to the streets. In the first video below, videographer Realist News discusses the recent Zero Hedge story, sharing with us that nearly 25% of Americans are unable to pay their monthly bills as they continue to go into more and more debt. You know, can I just stop for a second? That feels kind of, it makes me feel, I feel a little weird. I'm reading a story, in the first video below, videographer Realist News discusses, that's me discussing it. How do you say that? Well, I'm just reading someone else's article. I got to go with it. Makes me feel weird. Not gonna lie, makes me feel a little weird, but I'm going with it. And as our same videographer shares with us in the second video, he's got 2 videos of me on here. Fantastic. I only saw the first one. A double bonus for J-Step4, man. In the second video, tens of millions of Americans have already slipped through the cracks of the globalist economy that has wreaked havoc upon America, shipping good-paying jobs overseas, while here in the U.S., some American workers' last tasks on their jobs are training the illegal immigrants who will be replacing them. Remember that? I did that. I do remember the video. Disney World, we're going to get rid of you guys for your replacements. And by the way, your replacements, we're coming from India. But so that you don't leave out of rage and pissed off anger, we need you to stay for 90 days. So you're going to be kept on at your salary. And at the end of the 90 days, we're going to give you a 10% one-time bonus on your way out. You're going to be replaced anyways. So what are you going to do? Well, I'd like to obviously keep my job for the next 90 days and take a 10% of my yearly bonus. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. To replace themselves. How despicable. You guys are being let go, and I want you to train your replacements. How disgusting is that? Unbelievable. I remember doing the video anyways. With tens of millions of Americans already suffering from the downturn that the globalist economy has brought to America, what's going to happen to the average American, those who are living day to day and paycheck to paycheck, when a grave financial cataclysm take place here in the U.S. and or globally, such as the experts are warning us about? As ANP friend Steve Quayle recently mentioned to us, it's time that we have a reality-based discussion about the worst case scenarios that, should they come to fruition, could catastrophically change the lives of nearly every person living here. Again, it's a guys, we've lived a good life in America, but as you see the numbers, our education, we used to be the top 3, top 5. Now we're down to like number 48 or 28 or something on the list of world education, talking just regular education. Healthcare falling rapidly off that. Like, we need to have a discussion. These are not one-offs, these are trends. And if those are the trends, where's that leading us? And how are we going to deal with those things when we get here? And wherever here is, that's what we need to talk about. Try having that conversation with some of your friends, family, loved ones. They're going to look at you like a bumbling idiot. What in the F are you talking about, you idiot? Is how that's going to go. Which is why when you stock up on stuff and get stuff, your little prep items, you got to get extra. Because your mind's going to say, my moron sister, brother, mother, father, whatever it is, they're going to come here. They have kids. I have kids. I can't possibly leave them out of this. So extra food, extra stash, extra this, whatever. That's what my mind went to. So, yep, I'm covered. Unfortunately, and I don't want to have to say, hey, God, I told you so. All these years, I told you to stock up. I told you that. What are you going to bring to my house? Or if I come to your house, what do you have there that's going to help this situation? Nothing. Did you get the big food storage I've been telling you about all these? No, don't have that. Did you finally get some firearms, shotgun, anything to protect your family from the looters and stuff? No, I never did that either. Did you get your concealed carry permit? No, I didn't get that. You got your silver. Got some silver, didn't you? No, I didn't get that either. Did you gamble in any of the cryptos when they were going sky high? No, hell no. Forgive me. I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna just randomly knock on doors around your neighborhood and see if anyone else prepared better, and then offer my stuff, and we can kind of share it. Even though you're my family, you've just become a massive burden to me, and you're gonna eat up and use up all my stuff, and I don't like that. But of course, in all reality, no, I wouldn't be going around knocking on your neighbor's doors to ask. Hell no. I'd end up saying, no, you're my family. I can trust you. Screw it. I bought extra because of this day would come, and I knew it in advance. So, here we are. Anyways, off to, I think, one more video.